A coin no larger than the palm of your hand. A piece of everyday pocket change that millions of Americans once spent without a second thought. It has quietly crossed auction blocks for thousands of dollars, not because it is made of gold, not because it belonged to a king, but because hidden among countless ordinary examples lies a tiny handful that transformed an ordinary 50-cent coin into one of the most fascinating treasures sought by collectors. Somewhere, perhaps inside an old family drawer, forgotten in a dusty piggy bank, tucked away in a coin jar, or resting unnoticed in an inherited collection, another one may still be waiting. Its owner might pass over it every day without realizing that history and perhaps remarkable value is staring back at them. Before revealing why this seemingly ordinary coin has captivated collectors for decades, we must first travel back to one of the most important celebrations in American history, where the story truly begins. The year was 1976, and the United States was preparing to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. 2 centuries had passed since 13 colonies declared themselves a new nation, and the country wanted the bicentennial celebration to be remembered for generations. Fireworks, parades, historical reenactments, and patriotic events filled cities across America. Yet one of the most enduring tributes would fit comfortably inside a pocket. The United States Mint decided that 3 circulating coins would receive special commemorative reverse designs: the quarter dollar, the half dollar, and the dollar coin. Unlike traditional commemorative issues that rarely entered everyday commerce, these coins would circulate alongside ordinary money, allowing millions of Americans to carry a piece of the bicentennial celebration wherever they went. The half dollar chosen for this historic tribute was already familiar to Americans. Since 1964, it had carried the portrait of President John F. Kennedy, honoring the beloved leader whose assassination shocked the nation. Rather than replacing Kennedy's portrait, the Mint preserved it on the obverse while introducing an entirely new reverse design that would forever distinguish the bicentennial issue. That reverse depicts Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very building where both the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution were debated and signed. Designed by Seth G. Huntington, the image is rich in symbolism. Above the building appear the words United States of America. Below, half dollar. Beside Independence Hall, the inscriptions 200 years of freedom and E pluribus unum remind every holder of the nation's ideals. Even the date tells an unusual story. Instead of displaying a single year, every bicentennial half dollar carries the dual date 1776 and 1976, forever linking America's birth with its bicentennial celebration. No circulating Kennedy half dollar has ever carried the standalone date 1975. In fact, no half dollars dated 1975 exist at all. Production shifted directly to the special dual-dated design so the bicentennial coinage could be struck well before the anniversary celebrations began. For many Americans, this coin became more than currency. Children collected them. Parents saved them as keepsakes. Grandparents tucked rolls away for future generations, convinced that one day these coins would become valuable reminders of a historic moment. In some homes, they were carefully stored inside small envelopes. In others, they disappeared into coffee cans, dresser drawers, and forgotten boxes, only to be rediscovered decades later by grandchildren who had no idea what they were holding. Yet, despite their sentimental value, a mystery remained. If hundreds of millions were produced, how could some examples become so desirable that experienced collectors eagerly searched through thousands of ordinary coins hoping to discover just one exceptional specimen? The answer begins with the places where these coins were born. Most bicentennial half dollars were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint for circulation. Coins from Denver bear the small d mint mark beneath Kennedy's neck, while Philadelphia circulation strikes carry no mint mark at all. But another mint quietly produced something very different. At the San Francisco Mint, Specially prepared collector versions were created using polished dies and carefully treated planchets. These proof coins exhibit brilliant mirror-like fields contrasted with frosted raised devices, creating the famous camo appearance treasured by collectors. Some proof sets were struck in copper-nickel clad composition, while others were minted in a 40% silver composition specifically intended for collectors rather than circulation. To the casual observer, the difference may appear subtle. To a numismatist, it changes everything. Silver examples possess distinct characteristics in appearance, weight, and sound. Proper identification requires careful examination, since millions of ordinary clad coins resemble them at first glance. And yet even silver composition is only the beginning. Condition often determines whether a bicentennial half-dollar remains worth face value or becomes a highly desirable collectible. Imagine two identical coins struck on the same day. One spends decades passing from cashier to customer, rattling against keys, rubbing inside pockets, collecting scratches, small dents and wear. The other is carefully removed from a mint set moments after production, preserved inside protective packaging where not even fingerprints disturb its surface. Years later, the difference in value can be astonishing. Professional grading services evaluate coins using internationally recognized grading standards ranging from heavily worn examples to pristine mint state specimens designated 70 for circulation strikes or 70 for proofs. Every tiny contact mark, hairline scratch, spot, or imperfection can influence the final grade. That is why experienced collectors inspect these coins beneath powerful lighting and magnification, searching for flawless luster, sharp details, uninterrupted surfaces, and original mint brilliance. Cleaning a coin, surprisingly, often reduces its desirability. Many beginners mistakenly polish old coins believing they are improving them. In reality, artificial cleaning leaves microscopic scratches and removes the natural surfaces collectors value most. A naturally aged coin with original surfaces is usually far more desirable than one that shines unnaturally after polishing. As collectors learned these lessons over the decades, another layer of the mystery slowly emerged. Not every bicentennial half-dollar left the mint exactly as intended. Some escaped quality control carrying genuine mint errors, small manufacturing mistakes that transformed ordinary coins into remarkable collectibles. And among those errors lies one of the most fascinating chapters in the story, one that has led determined collectors to examine thousands of bicentennial half-dollars under magnification, hoping to uncover a tiny imperfection capable of changing everything. As the coin passed from one hand to another over the decades, another truth quietly emerged: most bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars would remain ordinary circulation coins, but a small number would begin attracting extraordinary attention. The difference was often invisible to an untrained eye. A coin that looked almost identical to thousands of others could possess a tiny detail capable of transforming it from 50 cents into a collector's dream. Collectors soon realized that preservation was everything. A heavily circulated example, worn smooth after years in cash registers and pockets, usually carried only modest value, but a coin that somehow escaped circulation entirely, preserving its original mint luster, crisp details, and flawless surfaces, became an entirely different story. Every tiny contact mark, every hairline scratch, every fingerprint could dramatically influence its future value. Professional grading services, such as Pease and Nick, introduced standardized grading systems that helped collectors determine a coin's condition with remarkable precision. Terms like M63, M65, M67, and even M68 became far more than technical labels. They became milestones, separating common pieces from genuine numismatic treasures. Imagine opening an old family coin album inherited from a grandparent. Most of the coins appear familiar, perhaps even ordinary. Then your eyes settle on a brilliant 1976 Kennedy half-dollar that still flashes with untouched mint brilliance. It has never seen circulation, The edges remain razor-sharp. Liberty's portrait is beautifully defined. Suddenly, what seemed like another commemorative coin becomes something worthy of careful examination. Yet condition is only part of the mystery. Some of the most exciting discoveries involve genuine mint errors, those fascinating moments when something unexpected happened inside the minting presses. Collectors have documented doubled dies showing subtle doubling in lettering or design elements, off-center strikes where the coin was not perfectly aligned during production, dies cracks that created raised lines across the surface, clipped planchets missing small portions of the edge, and broad strikes produced without the restraining collar. These are not damages caused after the coin left the mint. They are authentic manufacturing anomalies that make each affected piece unique. Because mint errors are highly collectible, they must always be authenticated carefully. Many damaged coins are mistakenly believed to be rare errors. Scratches, polishing, chemical cleaning, filing, or accidental impacts cannot create true mint varieties. Experienced collectors examine the surfaces under magnification, comparing known diagnostics before declaring a coin to be a legitimate error. Authentication has become increasingly important because cleaned or altered coins often lose a significant portion of their collector value. An overly polished bicentennial half-dollar may shine brilliantly, but experienced numismatists usually recognize unnatural surfaces immediately. Original mint frost, natural toning, and untouched texture remain far more desirable than artificial brilliance. Silver-clad collector editions deserve special attention as well. While the standard circulating Kennedy Bicentennial half-dollar was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, the United States Mint also produced special 40% silver versions specifically for collectors. These were never intended for general circulation and were included in special mint sets and proof sets. Their intrinsic silver content, combined with collector demand, has helped maintain stronger values than their circulating counterparts. Proof versions add another layer to the story. Unlike circulation strikes, proof coins were produced using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, creating deeply mirrored fields and frosted design elements. Every detail appears almost sculpted by light itself. These coins were struck with extraordinary care, intended not for commerce, but for collectors who appreciated craftsmanship at its highest level. Of course, even proof coins vary dramatically in quality. Tiny imperfections can separate an ordinary proof from a near-perfect example commanding far greater prices. As the decades passed, collector interest only continued to grow. The bicentennial celebration represented far more than a date on a coin. It symbolized 200 years of American history, independence, resilience, and national identity. Every surviving Kennedy half-dollar from 1976 became a miniature historical monument, connecting modern collectors with one of the country's most memorable national celebrations. Auction houses occasionally remind the collecting world just how dramatic those differences can become. While millions of circulated examples remain affordable, exceptional certified specimens with outstanding preservation have achieved astonishing results. The finest known circulation strike examples graded at the very highest levels have sold for several $1,000s at major auctions. Likewise, elite proof and silver issues in virtually perfect certified condition have also realized impressive prices that surprise many people who assume every bicentennial half-dollar is worth only 50 cents. And now we arrive at the revelation that has kept collectors searching through old collections for decades. One of the highest verified auction prices for an exceptional 1976 Kennedy half-dollar, specifically an extraordinarily preserved, top population certified specimen, has exceeded $0 at public auction. That remarkable figure was not paid for an ordinary circulated coin, but for an example representing the absolute pinnacle of preservation, rarity within its grade, and collector demand. That number changes the way many people look at this coin forever, because somewhere, perhaps inside an inherited collection that has not been opened in years, inside a forgotten safety deposit box, tucked into the pages of an old coin album, or resting quietly inside a dusty drawer, Another extraordinary example may still exist, waiting for someone to recognize its significance. It is remarkable to think about the journey these coins have taken. They were created during a nationwide celebration, passed through countless hands, witnessed changing generations, survived economic booms and recessions, and quietly carried fragments of history through everyday life. Most people never noticed them. Many spent them without a second thought. Yet, a fortunate few survived in pristine condition, silently becoming treasures while the world moved on around them. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson hidden inside the Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar. True treasures rarely announce themselves. They often disguise themselves as ordinary objects, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to look closer. So before you overlook that old coin jar, inherited collection, forgotten piggy bank, or family keepsake box, take another look. The next remarkable discovery may already be sitting only a few feet away. If you enjoyed uncovering the mystery behind the 1976 Hughes a half dollar, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more fascinating stories about rare coins and hidden treasures, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever found an unusual coin, or do you own a Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar? Your story could inspire the next great discovery, because history has a remarkable habit of hiding its greatest treasures inside the most ordinary looking coins.